campaign that he would hire the best people for the country. Here he goes.
We're going to deliver. We're going to get the best people in the world. You know, we have the greatest business people in the world. We don't use them. We're going to use our smartest and our best. We're not using political hacks anymore. That's the people that do these deals. They're political hacks. We want experts, our finest people. We don't want people that are B-level, C-level, D-level. We have to get our absolute best.
But as Dana Milbank points out in the Washington Post today, he hasn't followed through on that promise one bit. He nominated Sam Clovis to be chief scientist at the USDA. Well, he's not a scientist, but he's a former talk show host, nothing wrong with that, and a Trump campaign advisor. And as he mentioned earlier, Clovis withdrew his nomination today due to his ties with the Russian investigation. Sid Buttigieg was hired as an assistant to the Secretary of Energy. Previously, he'd been manager of a Meineke car care branch. He has since been fired after his past anti-Muslim tweets were uncovered. Victoria Barton handles congressional relations for the HUD department. She's also worked as an office manager and a bar manager. And Christopher Hagan, a confidential assistant to the USDA, was a cabana attendant dealing with chairs and towels as recently as 2015. I'm joined now by Dana Milbank, the author of that article, and a columnist for the Washington Post. Dana, how did you get the backgrounds of these people, which were so seemingly inappropriate? I remember when W, the president, had the head of the Arabian Horse Association run the Federal Emergency Management, which dealt with Katrina. That was a laugh. Where did he get this cast of characters?
A terrific group called American Oversight actually FOIA'd all of these resumes and overlaid it with who's been appointed and who worked in the Trump campaign. And it is really quite funny. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Meineke Muffler. I would take my car there, but does a guy who ran the Meineke Muffler branch in Seabrook, New Hampshire, belong making energy policy? I don't know what he knows about energy policy, but Americans could be confident knowing that as long as he was there, they were not going to pay a lot for that muffler.
What about this guy Buttigieg? Sid Buttigieg.
I think that's the very one. It appears that he moonlighted a bit as a massage therapist as well. We have the Cabana Boy has gone to the USDA along with a maker of scented candles and a trucker. The bartender has gone to HUD, and that's very important because a bartender would certainly be able to help the HUD secretary who happens to be a retired brain surgeon. So all of these people may be qualified in their own rights. They just don't seem to be qualified for the positions that he's put him in. It's a little bit like we're watching an episode of The Apprentice, and everything's gone a bit haywire.
Well, here's a factoid that everybody listening right now and watching will never forget. Today, Secretary of Energy Rick Perry said that fossil fuels play a role in preventing sexual assault.
From the standpoint of sexual assault, when the lights are on, when you have light, it shines the righteousness, if you will, on those types of acts. So, from the standpoint of how you really affect people's lives, fossil fuels is going to play a role in that. I happen to think it's going to play a positive role.
Is he speaking metaphorically? It sheds righteousness. I mean, this is Chauncey Gardner out of being there. I mean, this is the Secretary of Energy. This is the guy who couldn't remember the 3 departments he was going to get rid of. And here he is saying he's figured out the metaphysical connection between light and avoiding evil. I mean this is like something out of, I don't know what,
It's so easy
Genesis.
to say, I'm not going to say oops, I'm not going to go down the path of suggesting that the Secretary of Energy is a dim bulb, but he didn't have a whole lot of background. I mean, at least he was the governor of Texas, so he had some experience. But think about it, we have a Secretary of Education who does not have a lot of knowledge about education, but has talked about the danger of bears attacking public schools. The Treasury Secretary is most recently known for the Lego Batman movie. And of course, we've got Ben Carson, the brain surgeon at the Housing and Urban Development. And then you've got a guy like Mattis at the Pentagon, who's superbly qualified, and Trump keeps stepping all over him and contradicting him. So you wonder why they don't get more experts.
I've got to give some balance to this discussion. There needs to be balance. Let me say something about Rick Perry. I know, okay. Rick Perry has done some stupid and said some stupid things, but I got to say, back during Katrina, back when the people in New Orleans were underwater, a lot of them African Americans, he offered refuge in his cities, like Houston. They offered those people a place to go and live and stay there. It was an unusual act of generosity and welcoming, I thought, from a conservative Republican governor, and I have to give him credit for that. I've always remembered I liked the guy for one reason, the way he responded to really hard in the lives of those poor people that had to leave their city back in Katrina days. He looked a lot better than W ever will. Thank you, Dana Milbank. I had to offer some counterbalance to how cruel some of us can be. Up next, the Hardball Roundtable takes on the conservative crusade against Special Counsel Mueller and Joe Biden's latest fiery attack on President Trump. You're watching Hardball.